I'd never been one to adore the winter, which made a huge chunk of the year here in New England tough. This story begins a little before Thanksgiving. I work as a marketing manager and was in overdrive as the holidays approached. I scouted for influencers and came across the account Kyle Finn Dempsey. Although by this time I'd moved to the southern section of the Berkshires for work, I grew up in the same town as him and had enjoyed viewing his photographic and cinematic skill set evolve over the years. So I reached out. I was at my friend Greer's house when he responded, and admittedly I got pretty excited. In retrospect, it's funny how little Kyle and I ended up talking about work. We were chatting constantly and decided to meet up for dinner at a local Mexican restaurant. And from there, we became pretty inseparable. The next day was a roaring blizzard, and we went out in his old blue Ford truck, touring the hill towns we were raised in. We even stopped by the local falls. We'd both been visiting separately our entire lives, but this was our first time going together. The contrasts of pine, beech leaves, and glistening snow was so enchanting. A few days later, we took a trip to his off-grid cabin, and I met his friend Mason. They caught up, and I took a solo jaunt down the river to balance some stones. I actually fell into the freezing water, but was too overcome with a sense of wonderment to care. And a handful of fun nights ensued, where I'd meet the rest of the gang. We even skated at his pal Jack's pond. I had only been a handful of times, so I got a pair and spent that night learning. And Kyle and I stayed up until 5 in the morning, and by the end of the night, the growing spark between us had become an inextinguishable fire. And on January 8th, Kyle popped the question, and we started dating. I deeply admired his intelligence, wanderlust, sophistication, and ambition. He's an old soul, and he brings out an adventurous part of me that had been tucked away for a while. And I reintroduced him to the simple pleasure of cooking meals at home and going on long hikes for the sake of being outside. At this point, our adventures really began to multiply.
Do the gin and tonic.
One of Kyle's winter favorites is cross-country skiing, so I just went for it and purchased my own gear, and he began teaching me. Having someone encourage you to step out of your comfort zone is so refreshing and invigorating. Although I took plenty of falls, Kyle remained patient and always had a huge smile on his face.
Let's get it.
And with so much winter hiking going on, I discovered the bewildering beauty that occurs as golden hour transitions into blue hour. The neon rays of marigold, amber, and salmon illuminate half of the heavens, and across the way, periwinkle and lavender fade into star-filled skies. The winter hues are hypnotizing against the snowy world below. I can't see what's under the snow. And we spent our first night at the cabin and hours in the studio on our individual creative endeavors. Then for Valentine's weekend, we ventured to the Trapp family lodge, where we skied, hiked, wandered around Stowe, and even ate our fanciest dinner in pajamas. The scenery was breathtaking. And then, in the blink of an eye, we were back into the swing of working hard, chefing it up, and getting out on as many trails as time would allow. I also made sure to catch up with my girlfriends a bit. One of them had just gotten a puppy the night before, and his name's Moose.
Anyone want tea, coffee, water, more wine?
Cheers. And this is also around the time that we really dove into filming my intro video for YouTube. I was getting all of my platforms live and learning so much from Kyle. I even launched my own LLC. And Kyle launched his second channel. It's called Trout 2 and has long format nature clips and sounds. He ignited a fire in me that simply refuses to vanquish. My parents keep swinging by too, which has been pretty fun, and they came over just before my first premiere. That whole night was a dream, thanks to everyone who was present.
That song you used to sing back when everything was alright. Hum that tune you used to do, do.
And then back at it again in full swing. My clay material had just arrived and I could finally begin making the coolest earrings. But even when Kyle and I hunker down, we find a way back outside again eventually. We've actually been starting to compile a pretty cool camping kit as the warm airs of spring approach. At this point, we're just about caught up to how I got here. This next hike sealed the deal for me falling in love with our New England winters. real treat was accidentally popping out of the power lines as the sun kissed the mountains. The sky was a genuine work of art. And as Jack Frost loses his grip, I can say without a doubt that this winter changed my life.
Valentine.